And some great big shoes.
Clown.
Yeah.
But also slightly introverted and a bit depressed. So I wasn't the kind of happy-go-lucky class clown.
Oh, well, that's interesting, clown.
Class clown, probably a real pain in the arse.
I used to love farting, you see. So I'd fart a lot and would be able to time farting quite well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'd sort of store it up and then let rip at a really good moment. Any opportunity. It's still one of the things that makes me laugh more than anything is if I hear someone fart. I just love it.
I always say, if we can't have wind, who can?
Find your own little role, don't you? And I used to shout out in class and do all that sort of stuff, but I made sure that I would shout out in a way that the teachers would find attractive. Just the attractive again. And not hate me.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like some people would, you know, not to really wind the teachers up if the teacher absolutely loathed them. I wouldn't do that.
So you're keeping everyone on side. Skilled. Very skilled.
A little sad, but skilled.
It's not at all sad. I think that's very skilled.
I really was like a bully, but more I was like a bully to like the teachers, but only if I really sensed that they loved it. You know, like I remember the principal, Mr. Hurlbutt.
Is that really his name?
That really is his name.
Okay.
Marcus Hurlbutt. We had books, textbooks, I mean, like, so heavy, so much, a lot to carry. And I'd walk around with it, and then when Mr. Hurlbutt would walk my way, I'd throw all my books in the air and fall to the ground. And then when he'd yell at me, I'd be like, I fell! You can't get mad at me for falling. So then every time I saw him, I know this isn't flattering. And then every time I saw him, I'd be like, whoa. And he'd be like, Sarah, no. And I'd be like, whoa.
From the time I was a kid, you know, I could turn any situation around by being humorous. But there was also like that feeling that I wanted to say something more than just be funny. Like in high school, you know, it was the early 70s, you know, feminism, the war in Vietnam. I always had something to say, and I would get in trouble because I was the class commentator. Yes, I was funny, but I was also very serious about my message.
I was very shy as a child, but I did almost have a secret life as a kind of would-be entertainer, I think. And so when I got to school and I got to about 13, I sort of found a voice. And it was partly to stop people... it was controlling, basically, I think. I learnt to make people laugh in order to control how they could react to me. I always played the mad card. Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about me. Don't bother about me.
Don't be me, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just over here causing no trouble.
Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Let's do something really basically stupid when I was that age. Just go. With my friend, so stupid, and we used to call ourselves the Onion Family.
Girls are very vicious, aren't they? I mean, that awful gang thing that goes on, you're not my friend anymore. And I was always the one that they were saying that to, but I could usually get the friend back if I could be funny, if I could make them laugh. So it became a technique.
I was considered a bit funny at school, in a sort of good way, which, as I got older, turned out to be a very, very handy thing from the bullying point of view, because it sort of made you a bit of a non-combatant. It meant that they didn't bother with you too much. You know, there'd be a bit of a fight, two little gangs, and one of them would sort of start picking on me, and someone else would say, oh, don't bother with her, silly as arseholes. And that was it. It was like being a stretcher carrier in the First World War. You weren't actually in the line of, well, I suppose you were with the stretcher, weren't you? That's a bad analogy. It was like being a general in the First World War. You weren't actually in the line of fire.
I always used humour. I remember I went to one of the little dances, you went to dancing school, and my very good friend Joan and I were not asked to dance, so we spread the rumor we had polio.
So it was impossible for you to get up and dance?
No one wanted to embarrass us.
What I tended to do was choose children that were kind of rather dull and boring, so next to them I looked interesting.
I definitely made a gang of people around me that I knew would enjoy me, taking the piss out of people for their benefit. And I was aware that if I didn't keep that up, they may not remain my friends. That's a bit weird. So I slightly bought them, not with sweets, but with jokes.
You were your own gang, man. You were cool.
No, I was not cool. No. Susan, not cool.
As you now
Susan
see
and
the
cool
photos.
are two separate circles in the Venn diagram of life. At no point do they intersect to form Susan cool.
I would run around and fall over and, you know, do anything to get a laugh so that I wouldn't be poked or hit. So, because when you're the clown in a gang, you're also the one that if the gang get a bit bored with picking on people outside the gang, you're the one that gets picked on. So I had to put up with a little bit of that.
Did you invent your own funny gang then? Were you head of the tribe in the end?
I was the only funny one. And then I had all these really...
You were the only funny one?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. What did you do?
I certainly had people to compete with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Other people tried to be funny?
Yes.
They wanted to be funny?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, see, in my time, you know, I'm an older generation than you. Funny was like the equivalent of, you know, Phyllis, Diller, or you were a loser.
Were you in a group of girls? Did you ever do a gang?
No, I was outside a gang. I looked very enviously upon gangs and groups and wanted to be in them, and I was never in one until later.
Did you not try to insert yourself into a gang?
I did try. I mean, I tried too hard in that way that it never ever will work. And I had, you know, other lame friends who were always trying to do the same thing that you didn't really want to be friends with, but they were just available because they had calipers or plasters over their glasses or something. And I was fat, so I was in the losers group, really.
I wasn't a particularly outgoing child or confident until I learned that I could make people laugh. And I thought, because I was at a girls' school, I was at a girls' convent school, and people get compartmentalised and you get labelled and stuff, and I thought, I don't want anyone to label me as anything other than the funny one. Because if they already say she's the funny one, they haven't then got to say she's the ginger one or she's the specky one. You know what I mean? She's the funny one, and that's it. And I just wanted funny to define who I was.
That's quite a good kind of survival technique, kicking in quite early.
Yeah, it was.
So you weren't being bullied, but you were just heading that off at the past.
Yeah, I suppose it is a survival instinct, and it's one that I think I still use now. I would still rather... I just think if people think that I'm funny, they're not going to look any further. They're not going to delve any deeper. You know what I mean? They just go, I'm funny. Don't look at me.
Look at me,
look
but
at
don't
me
look.
with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Look with your ears.
Yes.
I used to do impersonations of the mistresses, and one of them, the gym teacher, Miss West, had to teach us about what to do with our sanitary towels, because those are the days before Tampax. And so, can I do it for you now? Yes! Is it all right?
Please do.
Well, she said, Miriam, have your period started? And I said, yes, Miss West, because my period started way before everyone else's, you know. And she said, well, we don't have any facilities in the pavilion, so I'm afraid you're going to have to bring newspaper to school. And then she would sort of giggle nervously, and she'd go, like that, because she was embarrassed at having to say it. So she'd say, bring newspapers to school. And if you can wrap them up and take them home in your satchel, that would solve the problem. I hope that's all right. And that's what she'd do. And so, of course, that was fun, you know, to...
Don't do that.